Alrighty guys, as you can read another Dragon Ball Legends ToP guide video. This is going to be in regards to Season 82. As for last season, we ended off at rank 5,843, securing the juicy 1,000 CC. Hopefully you guys are putting it to good use if you guys did secure it as well. And last season, we did end up using 3 C-tier characters, meaning that 1 C-tier character was always on rotation, which is, I think that's pretty solid, right? I think that's pretty good, ending up in the rank top 6,000 right there, right? Of course, Bootank was in B tier and stuff like that. We had a good mixture of A tier and S tier as well. I'm pretty happy with the outcome of that. And of course, before we continue with the video, there will always be timestamps in the description down below. So the first thing I'm going to tell you guys about is friendship rank. So friendship rank is so important for our ToP. You can see right here, I'm just going to give you the basic rundown. If we look at the regular stats of our Bootanks, who is at friendship rank 10, you could see his health, strike attack, etc, etc. If we go over to ToP stats, you're going to be able to see an increase across the board, most notably in the key restore speed department. If you guys don't realize, key restore speed acts as your initiative in the ToP game mode, meaning that the higher your key restore speed, the more likely it is for you to attack first in a lineup for a turn or whatever it may be, right? So if your key restore speed is low, let's say it's at 2,200, that character is most likely going to be the very last character to attack between your team and the enemy's team. So I definitely say start friendship ranking your most important characters first, like say your healers, your main damage dealers, units that you know are going to be consistently be on your ToP team roster. Like for example, for me, I always run regeneration. I probably would recommend running Super Baby 2, as that's the designated healer. To get your friendship rank up at a fast rate, you want to do your Let's Fight events. You get 3 of these a day, do them every single day. Say you run out of the Let's Fight events, you can still grind your friendship rank, although at a slower rate. At part 6 of the story mode, it's going to be chapter 1, or it's going to be book 1, chapter 8 against Yellow Super Saiyan 3 Goku. This is currently the best stage to farm this, where you can infinitely farm the stage, right? There's no limit to how much times you can do this, but like I said, this is at a much slower pace. And exclusively for the anniversary in this event right here, the Invincible Super Warriors, there's this fight that's 1 a day. It's a bonus battle against Hercule. This actually has a good yield rate for the amount of friendship points gained. Now, another thing that I do think is worth mentioning is that you're serious about the friendship rank grind, you're going to want to build a friendship rank grinding team, right? So all these units right here, they're like on the cusp of friendship rank 10 is because I am actually actively farming them, right? And so the reason why you want a friendship rank grinding team is because they're all going to have this equip on it. It's going to have this. There's no way that we could lose to someone like you. It's going to be Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and Super Saiyan Shao. I don't know if he's Super Saiyan 2 or 1 in that image right there, but regardless of that, you get 3% to friendship points gained at the red slot, right? So 3%, 3%, 3%, this all stacks, and you can equip more than one of it on one unit. You get this from the exchange shop, specifically in the equipment metal shop. Like I said, it stacks, so all your units can have 3 of these, right? And it's going to stack. The effects are going to build up on each other, and it's going to make the rate at which you get those friendship points much faster. And speaking of equips, make sure you guys are putting on your equips. You want to put on your equips before starting your pathing, otherwise you're not going to be able to get another chance to do so. You're going to go into the exchange shop, specifically into the rare metal shop. There's going to be a ToP tab right here. This is where you're going to get all your ToP equips. The main ones that I do recommend is the ToP out of the way for your base health, and then one of these according to your typing, right? This one's for melee type. They have one for defensive, support, and range typing. And then if you have your unit at 7 stars or above, the explosive clash is ideal. Those 3 right there. If you don't have your unit at 7 stars or above, you're going to have to go ahead and get one of these silver equips. Whichever one is going to work just fine. They are equip condition. The equip conditions are these are pretty basic. It's just your color or your typing. And of course, the last thing you can do to actually increase the durability of your units is arts boosting, specifically special boosting them. If you look into the details on these, you can see that it's going to be boosting strike defense and blast defense all the way through right here. Especially as you get higher and higher, you're going to get a higher yield off of it as well, right? So this is pretty helpful, but definitely very costly. If you do opt in going this way, some people may not, because a lot of people do choose to save these arts boosting for their PvP designated units, which is understandable. So now let's go ahead and talk about pathing. This is the route that I have laid out for the season right here. I think the season is going to be a little bit difficult, a little bit annoying right here, but as per usual, The highlighted red circled fights are going to be the most important fights because those are your 5th, 10th, 15th, 20th, 25th win streak bonuses. If you guys don't know, this game does cater to you heavily based on your win streak right here, right? So if you're landing, if you're making... This is the main reason why we try to avoid the yellow tiles and avoid the green tiles right here. On those fights specifically, the fit on the increments of 5, those are going to give you the biggest point bonuses right there. As for the blue pathing, if you guys tend to deviate from that, that's more than okay. So now let's go into our pathing guidance. So the first fight that you actually come across is against androids. One of the units that I do want you guys to get out of the way right off rip is this green 21. She will stun you on turn 2. You don't want to get stunned on turn 2. And then save the android 16 for last because that dude does have a death buff for android allies. Next, we do have this ToP stage. We are definitely familiar with this one. TN is your biggest threat right here. The green TN will stun you and super you on turn 2. You have to kill him turn 1. So next, we do have the Super Saiyan 3 stage. This one's not the worst one. I think it's worth mentioning just because we always run regeneration. A lot of these units do have buffs against regeneration. For example, this yellow has a buff against regeneration, and then the purple has a buff against regeneration. And I feel like one more does. I want to say the red one does, but I could be wrong on that. But definitely the yellow and the purple. So next is this cell fight right here. This one's super annoying because of all the debuffs that are possibly within this fight. I typically tend to go for the suicide cell at the end, because he's going to be debuffing you regardless, but once he reaches a certain HP threshold, he throws another debuff on you. So next is this Dragon Fist stage. I typically go for the Red Tapion first, just because that Red Tapion will wipe out your super gauge on turn 2 with his own green card, and it's RNG. You can't choose what unit he wipes the super attack away, right? Like, for example, if one of your units is at 100% to their super gauge, is going to super on turn 2, a Tapion targets him, he can just reduce that to 0, effectively wiping it out. Next is this free-to-play stage right here. This is a very easy stage. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Even though they have all the Z abilities are buffing each other because of the event exclusive tag, the only unit that I want you guys to worry about is this purple Boo. On turn 3, he will stun you. So you do have a good amount of time before then to kill him. All right, so next is this Majin Buu fight. So this one's pretty annoying as well. It's 5th stage. There's an Ultra here. There's a lot of annoying things going on, right? Again, you have the purple Boo right here. You have to kill him before turn 3 or else he will stun you. And then I do advise killing the green Kid Boo because this guy's actively putting debuffs on you every turn. So next is this Frieza Force fight. This one's also pretty annoying right here. You have the double yellows, so consider bringing double reds here. I do advise going for the Nappa first because he's another one of those units who's actively putting debuffs on you every single turn. And it's board-wide debuffs. Board-wide, like every single tile on your board is getting debuffed right there. The biggest thing though is that the Frieza is going to stun you. Don't be too, I mean, you had to kind of just let it happen. There's nothing you can do about it. He stuns you on turn 1 right off rip. Alright, so next we do have this somewhat pseudo God Key stage, just 4 God Key units on it. So kill the Kaioken Goku first. He will super you on turn 2, has a really high key restore speed as well. You want to get him out of the way. If possible, in turn 1, if you can kill the green Beerus as well, that would be the optimal lineup right there because Beerus will stun you at the start of turn 2. So if you have the perfect turn 1 run where you're killing both of those units, this fight's going to be a cakewalk for you guys. So next is this Rival Universe fight. This one is a little bit tricky as well. I'm actually still debative on whether or not I should go for this stage or if I should go for this stage. There's like a stun guaranteed right here, right? So whatever is best suited for you, but if you do plan on going for this stage, you have 3 things to worry about. So you want to kill the Kaioken Goku before turn 2 or else he'll super attack you. You want to kill the Hit as well because he has 2 potential stuns. And then Frost will also stun you at the end of turn 1, right? So obviously 3 threats right there. Typically what I do is I have my Buu tanks just super attack Hit so I can avoid the stuns from him and then get the Kaioken Goku out of the way so I avoid his super attack. And then I try to go for the Frost. Most of the time, Frost does end up stunning me, but at that point, two of his allies are already dead, so it's kind of a non-issue. And for the final fight, it is against Majin Buu Saga. One of the big threats here is definitely the tag Buu Boys, whatever you want to call them. Do keep in mind, you cannot save them for last. If you wait until turn 4 to kill them, they will hit you with the Transcendent Kamehameha. Obviously, I've never been hit with it. I hope to never get hit with it. Just kill them before they get to that point. But other than that, it should be a fairly simple, straightforward fight. Again, the yellow Super Saiyan 3 does have the buff against regeneration for all my regeneration users. Let me know if there's any fights on the field that I should have covered that I did not cover for the pathing. So before we get into our top teams for this season of ToP, I do have a couple honorable mentions right here on the left-hand side. I have the Super Warriors. So if you guys know me, you guys know how I feel about Super Warriors already. They're very limited. I feel like this is a very niche team to have built right here. I don't recommend it for newcomers, for beginners of the game mode right here. This is definitely a difficult team to run right here. Then even this variation seems pretty difficult to me, right? They're not running a healer with the yellow EX Piccolo or anything like that. I probably would run the yellow EX Piccolo. Big fan of the red Tien. He has the board-wide debuffs. You could even throw the blue Yamcha in there, who is A tier for this season and stuff like that, right? And then over here on the right-hand side, you have a team that I've never seen before, but they're top 10 right now. It's a mono blue team. Most notably, they have the Zaha, the blue Zaha, who is a healer. He's an indiscriminate healer. He's going to just be healing the row above him. You also have the EX Cell, who has a solar flare available to him, so damage mitigation there, I suppose. And then the blue Cyberman. So the blue Cyberman is getting a super attack every single fight, so that's definitely their DPS unit, their means of damage. But both of these look like very risky teams to me, something that I probably wouldn't invest too heavily in. Alright, so for the first thing we're going to be talking about is Sagas from the movies. On the right hand side, you do see the rank 22 player. This is what he's rocking with right here. Obviously, you don't have to completely copy what this player is running, because that might not work for you, especially if you don't have the same exact stars as he has, right? Because this guy has 14 stars across the board. So on my side right here, what I'm going to be showing you is I start off in C tier, right? I'm picking up Pan. So first of all, the buff to your max base HP is huge, right? And she has amazing support / debuffs for the enemy team. That's why she's always in C tier. And of course, a lot of people probably have summoned for the Gogeta. Hopefully pulled the Gogeta, and he's pretty solid. He's definitely more of a slow starter kind of unit, but he's really, really good if you want to use him or any other C tier. If you're not using the Gogeta, I do recommend a damage dealer, like maybe even the blue Beast right here. This person has the blue Broly, which is actually pretty solid too, right? Because he just got the Zenkai. He's gonna have the Zenkai stats. Maybe even the Ultra Gogeta, stuff like that, right? That's gonna work in your favor right here. I think an underrated unit is this Revival Gohan, just because he does have the revival and he is a secondary healer. He's going to be healing the entire tag by 1% at the start of the third turn, which doesn't seem like a lot, but anything helps, right? And then in B tier, you do have great options here. 2 healers in B tier, right? With this Goku, he's going to be healing your allies upon getting hit in the highlighted area. And then you also have this Gamma 2 is going to be healing on turn 3. So again, another secondary healer is doing a one-time heal by 2%. He's also getting his special move gauge on the 4th turn by 50%. So he's super attacking every other fight, right? That's really good. And then in A tier, there's also some good pickups right here. None that I really wish to talk about. I mean, this red Turles is really good. The Goku is really good for the base HP buff too. And then even this Bujin has a good little stun if you're rocking more of a Hera Squad centered team. And then in S tier, you actually have 3 great units in S tier. So this free-to-play Tapion, yeah, that's right, a free-to-play unit. And this guy is amazing because he does have a cover change that's universal. So it means you don't have, it's not health gated or anything by that. If I click on him, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. If I click on him and you can see his highlighted area of effect, he could do a cover change for those 3 characters, and it does not matter what HP they are. It's only for 1, right? So if he uses it 1 time, he's only going to be using that 1 time for the fight. That's still really good. And then obviously this cooler is really good right here. You want him next to a Thouser, which is what you see right here. This green Thouser is going to be pocket eating him. He's going to be significantly buffing him. And then you also have this metal cooler, who's a Zenkai unit, very old, very accessible right here. And he's in S tier, and I've used him on regeneration, and I think he's really good. So next thing we're going to be talking about is GT. On the right hand side, you see the rank 6 player right here, and GT has a lot to work with this season actually. Of course, I do like starting off in C tier right here. First thing I'm talking about is Super Baby 2, man. This dude is the GOAT. Probably one of the best healers in the game, if not the best healer in the game for ToP, for specifically GT and tag regeneration. I like this guy a lot. He is Zenkai buffing blue. So the other pickup in C tier I would recommend is this Spirit Bomb Goku if you do have him. If not, I'm going to say right now, 17 looks pretty juicy, and so does the tag 4s if you want to use either of those units right there, right? But with the Spirit Bomb Goku, the reason why I like him is because on the start of the second turn, he actually has a Solar Flare, right? He's activating his green card, which is his Solar Flare, and he inflicts the enemy with can attack. So you have damage mitigation right there. He's also getting the Zenkai buff from Super Baby 2. And B tier, I am a huge fan of Bola. Look at the support. Look at the support. Look at it. Look at what is that square entailing right there. The entire board, and she also acts as a pseudo healer, or actually, yeah, a pseudo, because he only heals twice, not every turn like Baby. At the end of the turn, allies in range restores health by 2%. That's for all of your allies. She's technically, so she's basically on par with Baby's healing right there, right? And a better tier too, to boot. And then in A tier, you have the Parasite Trunks. I think this guy is phenomenal, especially against Saiyans or Hybrid Saiyans. He just absolutely decimates them. And then in S tier, you have a ton of options right here. You have the EX Omega. This guy farms his super attack pretty quickly, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, so on Blast Arts, he's farming that 5% to special move gauge. And then once he hits that special move, he's hitting every enemy with strong poison. And he's also healing himself by 5%. Plus, he's getting the extra buffs on a GT team. And then you also have the Shadow Dragons right here. Nova Shenron has the Bubble Shield. This guy has the counter towards strike cards and stuff like that, right? It's pretty good setup right here. And then even in Z tier, you have this guy who has good support, like really good support. He's a very old unit. I expect a lot of you guys have him at Red Star range, but he is basically buffing the bro above him, and he's also self-healing every single turn, so he's never going to need those baby heals. The next tag we are going to be talking about is the Saiyan tag. So right hand side, rank 16 player. One of the best things about this team right here on the right hand side is the fact that the green EX Namek Goku, I have him on my side right here as well. This dude is a healer. So at the start of the second turn, allies in range restores health by 5%. That's a pretty significant heal right there, right? But if we start off in C tier, there's so many units here. Like, if you really wanted to run both of the fusions, you could, right? Are those units going to die? Probably not. Like, they have so much healing. The Vegeta and Goku blue and the Vegeta and Goku yellow, right? You can use both of those in combination with each other. I always stick to 2 C tier characters minimum. I've went up to 3 before. This season, we might go up to 4. But as for right here, I think some standout units for me, and I definitely am not going to include everyone here, but this Raditz right here, he buffs Saiyans, which I already like. He gets 100% to special move gauge turn 1, right off rip, coming out the gate, just blasting his super attack, and he has a buff against Sun Family and regeneration. Same thing with this Goku right here. This dude transforms like on turn 2, gets insane key restore speed. Look at that key restore speed at friendship rank 1, 2,733. This guy also buffs Saiyan, which is huge, right? And then he gets a guaranteed super attack at the start of turn 2, which is really good. Obviously, there's other units that are pretty good right here. Like, all of the tag units are good. The ultras are good. This Rose, he gets a guaranteed super attack turn 1 as well. He has high key restore speed as well. So if you want to use something with him, that's possible. You can do that in theory. And then in B tier, I always do like to have this pickup for Saiyans, right? It's the UR number 1 Vegeta. This guy is going to be healing you the whole board at the start of the third turn by 3%. If you really wanted to, you could also pick up this Kale. She doesn't buff Saiyans. She buffs Universal Survival Saga, but she does have an indiscriminate heal. She would rather be on a Universal Survival Saga, Rival Universe, or Girls team, though, unfortunately. But in A tier, we have another Goku unit. Who would have thought? He is a Zenkai unit. He gets a guaranteed super attack at the end of turn 2. So rolling into turn 3. So you're super attacking almost every turn. So turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3, right? And then the Raditz is here mainly just for the max HP Z ability, but he's also giving blast damage to everyone, which is pretty nice. And then in S tier, we do have that healer Namek Goku we just talked about in this Vegeta. So this guy's super attacking every other fight. So as long as he's kept above 40% HP or higher, he's going to repeatedly get that 50% to special move gauge at every third turn. Plus, he's going to be Zenkai buffing the Yellow God Goku. And then in Z tier, you do have Giblet, bro. This guy is not necessarily like game breaking or anything like that, but he is pretty good. He has a buff against Saiyan and against Hybrid Saiyan, which is there's a lot of units like that, and so he has a lot of stuff going on for him. He's not necessarily like the best damage dealer, but for being Z tier and a free to play unit, I'm gonna go ahead and say you should probably use him on your Saiyan squad. So the next thing we are going to be talking about is androids, and of course you already know I gotta plug ND8 Gaming in the description down below. My team is kind of shocked. So, if you look on the right-hand side, this is the rank 39 player right here. He's rocking 2 C-tier characters already. You love to see that. You love to see a C-tier character runner in the top 100, living and thriving right there. So he is running the Gamma 2s, which obviously tag units are universally good. And then the Suicide Cell, he's running him at 4 stars though, which is a surprise to me. But I've heard that this guy can do some serious work in the ToP game mode right here. He has a ton of stuff in his kit. I know he has tons of debuffs that he applies to the enemy team and stuff like that, so I definitely do want to use him in the future. But another option for your C-tier units can be this 17. This guy has amazing support as well. He's just very, very good overall. And then this Revival Cell, you guys have seen a lot of this Revival Cell in my own playthroughs, and you have seen that sometimes there's a lot of times where it takes him so long for him to actually revive, even without getting healed. Right, so he's really, really good. And then in B tier, you do have the new free-to-play 20 or 18 right here. She's a healer. That's like the main thing that I do want to note about her, is that at the end of turn, if there is at least 4 other Majin Buu Saga event exclusive or androids, you're restoring health of allies in range by 1%, and you're going to see the highlighted range right there. Being B tier is a little bit low. You might want to get someone a little bit better in B tier, but I'm just showing you mainly the healers. I really am invested in the healers, but of course the Zenkai Yellow Cell is phenomenal as well. And then in A tier, you have so many good options, like legit so many. This Super 13 has a guaranteed super attack on turn 3. This Red 18 has continuous heals plus debuffs in those ranges. This Yellow 18 has heals as well. This Yellow Cell has heals, and also I actually prefer the Yellow Cell because not only is he a healer for the android tag, he's supporting the entire board, and he's also giving max base HP. But like I said, this other Yellow support cell is really, really good. I use him quite a bit as well. This first form green cell is solid. This guy has a guaranteed cover change, does not have to be health gated whatsoever. I like him too. And then in Z tier, I think the most notable unit here is actually the EX second form cell, just because of having the solar flare at the end of turn 2, which rolls over to turn 3 basically. But again, if you want to see a dedicated androids playthrough, please check out Andy Aid Gaming in the description down below. And for the final team we are going to be talking about today is our tag regeneration team. So we're going to start off in C tier. We're going to be picking up Super Baby 2 and this Revival Cell. I think this Revival Cell is perfect for you guys. I feel like a lot of you guys have him. So we're going to go ahead and continue to use him. He's really, I actually prefer Zamasu. If I'm being real honest with you guys, I probably would prefer using this guy, but I don't think you guys have him at high stars. And plus he's a Legends Limited Zenkai unit. I think he's less accessible than the Revival Cell, but I do think the Zamasu is better. And then in B tier, we actually have 2 pickups right here. We're going to be using the Boot Tanks, of course, and then the Kid Glue, right? Because this guy is going to be getting a Zenkai. I want to use him when he gets that Zenkai. And then in A tier, we do have the pickup. We got to protect our blues here, so we need a pretty strong purple, Super Janemba. If you want a stronger purple, then I do suggest going into C tier if you have some good stars on this cell, or even in the B tier Legends Limited purple cell. Either of the purple cells, I think they both actually have pretty good kits overall. But we will be using the purple Janemba and the Majin Buu Pure Evil just to see how he does, how he fares in ToP. And then in S tier, we have some really good pickups here. Actually, we have the cell, the purple cell. I just want another purple right here, right? And then we have the Demon King Piccolo, free-to-play unit, very accessible to you guys. Get him to friendship rank 10. You get super attacks very, very quickly. He's getting, I believe it's like every 4th turn he's getting 30% to special engage. But there's also tons of other good options here, like this Piccolo Jr. is really good. This yellow Legends Road Piccolo is actually surprisingly great for support. This Metal Cooler, I like him a lot if you want that for a red unit. He actually could replace the Revival Cell if you really wanted to. And then even the Slug, he's decent. He's more so there. He's like a stat whore. He's not really there for major damage. But if you need any replacements for this team, let me know in the description down below. I know it's a little bit demanding with a new character and with a Legends Limited Zenkai, so just put your comment down there. Alright, so let's go over, for the last segment of the video, let's go over all the new characters. We'll start off with the I don't know why I almost said free to play, with the purple Ultimate Gohan. So ToP stats, maximum stats. So take a look at that key recovery. 2,200 is a little bit weak. I'm not gonna lie, at friendship rank 1 though, he does have the blue card and the ultimates. He has debuffs, 90% to damage inflicted, 20% to damage reduction, 20% to special move gauge charge rate. At the start of the first turn, activate special action multi-target, 20% to own key recovery. Oh, that's actually pretty good. 20% to own special move damage inflicted, and 30% to own special move gauge charge rate for 2 turns. You inflict all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 10% to damage received for 2 turns. Excuse me. On special move or ultimate arts activation, you get 10% to damage inflicted, cannot be cancelled, and on special move or ultimate arts hit enemies in range, you inflict attribute downgrade plus 20% to damage. So if he hits a special move, so he's already inflicting all enemies with the debuff. If he hits a special move, you get an extra debuff in that range right there. That's crazy. And then for the next ability, you have a Strike Arts cover change that's health gated, unfortunately, by 30%. When you do change cover, you restore health of allies in range by 2. He heals when he cover changes? I mean, this would be like a god tier ability if it wasn't health gated. 10% to damage inflicted by allies in range, 20% to own damage inflicted, 20% to own key recovery, and 20% to own special move gauge. Again, it would be a god tier ability if it wasn't health gated. Before receiving an attack against unfavorable elements, you restore your health by 5%. That's a good amount. 10% damage inflicted, 20% to damage reduction, 10% to special move gauge, and you upgrade your special move arts activates once. This effect will only occur, or it will activate even if an ally performs a cover change. Okay. I think they had to gimp him a little bit. I'm not going to lie. He's still really good, but I think they had to make sure that the cover change wasn't too broken. So next we do have the Majin Buu Pure Evil. I actually have not seen this at all. I'm very excited to read what he has for us right here. So key restore speed on the lower side, 2,337. We're gonna start working on this tonight. Hopefully we'll get it by 10. He has the blue card and the ultimate here. First ability, 70% to damage inflicted, 20% to damage reduction, implies buff effect, restores 10% of damage, so he's healing himself. And at the start of the turn, multi-target restores own health by 2%, 15% to own damage inflicted, activates twice, 10% to own special move gauge, activates 3 times. Okay, so 30% of fights, not bad. And you inflict enemy with attribute downgrade, minus 5% to damage inflict. That's pretty good, actually. You're reducing the amount of damage that the enemy can output. Second ability, a Blast Arts cover change, health gated, unfortunately. On your special move arts activation, you get 20% to special move damage inflicted. On ultimate arts activation, 20% to ultimate damage inflicted for 1 turn. On special move or ultimate arts hit all enemies, minus 10% to special move gauge. I think that's kind of mid. I mean, I can see it stopping stuff if he had really high key restore speed and he's like the first one to attack, and say there's another super attacker in rotation and he just subtracts their special gauge, but he doesn't have key restore speed like that. I feel like this is kind of a miss for me. You inflict attribute downgrade plus 10% to damage received. On paper, I'm not too excited about this guy, if I'm being real honest with you, but we'll see how he plays out. Alright, so the next unit we will talk about is the God Goku, the man that I could not pull. Display his stats at max stats. 2,400 is a solid, respectable key recovery. He does have the blue card and the ultimate. For his abilities, start of the first turn, activate special action, 50%. So his green card basically, 50% to damage inflicted, 20% to damage reduction, 60% to key 100% to special move gauge. Holy moly. Okay. So yeah, if you guys need another green on your Saiyans team, here it is. Guaranteed special move gauge. Guaranteed turn 1. Does he buff Saiyans too? God Key, Sagas from the movies, or Sun Family. Good enough. Throw him on your Saiyans team. That's really strong. On special move or ultimate arts activation, you cancel all of your enemy's buff effects. All of them? All of them. Wow. On special move or ultimate arts hit, 45% to own damage inflicted, inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade, minus 5% to damage inflicted, 10% to damage received, and minus 20% to key recovery. Holy crap. He does have a strike cover change, 30% health gated. On strike or blast arts attack, 15% to damage inflicted. Start of the turn, on health is 60% or below, restores health by 3%, 100% to special move gauge, so he could possibly be getting 2 supers. He's almost at the yellow golden Frieza level right there. You cancel your attribute downgrades. This guy's great. He's absolutely phenomenal. If you have him, if you're a Saiyans main and you got this guy, you pulled him in your box, use him on your ToP team 100%. He's great. All right, so now let's take a look at Beerus ToP stats at max right here. He is sitting at 2,323. He has a blue card and the ultimate. His first ability, he has the center row debuffs right there. 70% to damage inflicted, 40% to blast damage inflicted, 15% to damage reduction, and 50% to ki recovery. So that's going to help out a lot. At the start of the first turn, you inflict all enemies in range with attribute downgrade plus 10% to blast damage received for 2 turns. Inflicts all enemies in range with attribute downgrade minus 5% to ki recovery for 2 turns. 20% to special move gauge charge rate for 2 turns. Applies buff effect, nullifies attribute downgrades twice. Applies buff effect, nullifies abnormal conditions once. Second ability, another strike cover change that is health gated by 30% at the start of the second turn. You get 15% to damage inflicted and 15% to your special move gauge. And at the start of the third turn, 15% to ultimate damage inflicted, and you upgrade your special move. I mean, he's alright. He's not like game breaking or anything. I feel like this is pretty mediocre. I feel like God Key doesn't get a lot of play either, but I guess he could do something on Sagas from the movies. So lastly, because I don't think the Kid Buu kit is out yet, we'll go check right now, but we do have the free-to-play Bulma. So let's look at her ToP stats. Ki restore speed is abysmal at 2,210. So Bulma only has the blue card accessible to her. Her first ability has 70% to damage inflicted, 15% to damage cut, 30% to special move gauge charge rate. Start of the first turn, 15% to blast damage inflicted, 20% to ki recovery for 2 turns, and at the second turn, you get 15% to blast damage. At the end of turn, allies in range, 5% to damage inflicted, cancels attribute downgrades at normal conditions, and at the end of turn, if there is an allied character Goku or DB Saga remaining, for self, you restore your own health by 2%. That's a little greedy. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like she would have had so much value if she was healing character Goku or tag DB Saga in range. You know what I mean? On Blast Arts attack, multi-target, 5% to special move gauge, and you inflict all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 10. It actually feels a little lackluster. I'm not too impressed by this. All right, let me just go ahead and check to see if we can actually see his Zenkai stats or not. Nope. Does not look like it's available to us yet, so we're just gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to just be patient here. All right, so that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for today's video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns related to ToP specifically for the season or in general, let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys leave a like and maybe even consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.